Tomel was not a hero. He was just a simple worker on the quiet colony of Mira 9. A small human settlement far from Earth. His job was fixing lights, checking machines, and making sure the water systems worked. Most people in the colony did not even notice him. He liked it that way. Every day was the same, until the day the sky lit up with green fire. It happened just after sunrise. Tomel was repairing a broken solar panel on the outer wall of the colony dome when he saw it. A bright streak cut across the sky like a falling star, but it didn't burn out. It kept coming closer, faster, glowing green and gold. Then, with a loud thump, it crashed into the valley beyond the colony walls, raising a cloud of silver dust. Curious. Tomel grabbed his scanner and slowly made his way down the rocky path toward the crash site. Other people had noticed too, but no one followed him. Most were afraid. Some thought it was a meteor. A few thought it was an alien weapon. Tomel didn't think, just followed his steps. At the bottom of the valley, half buried in sand, was a strange metal box. It was the size of a small crate, shining like polished stone, but smooth and warm like living skin. Symbols moved across its surface in slow waves, Zalian writing that he had never seen before. He tapped his communicator. Tomel to control. I found something. It's not dangerous, but it's not human either. The response came fast. Bring it in carefully. With some effort, Tomel lifted the box into a cart and brought it back to the main dome. Scientists scanned it, poked it, and even tried using tools on it, but nothing worked. The box stayed closed. It didn't even show any screws or openings, but it did have one thing. A single glowing message appeared on its top, written in perfect Earth language. If you open this box, I'll marry you. Queen Arali of Valara Prime. The colony went silent. Queen Arali was a name everyone knew. She was the ruler of the Valari, one of the most advanced alien species in the galaxy. The Valari were graceful, wise, lived far away on the shining planet called Valara Prime. Few had ever seen the queen. Old stories said she was not only powerful but beautiful beyond imagination. Why would such a being send a strange box to a small colony? Why the message? Why the promise of marriage? People laughed at first. Some thought it was a prank. Others said it was a test. Soon the news spread beyond the colony. Videos and pictures of the box were shared across the galaxy. News channels called it the Queen's Wild Challenge. Teams of scientists came. Engineers tried using machines, heat, light, and sound to open the box. Some tried old codes. Others tried music, but nothing worked. The box stayed sealed. Tomel watched from a distance. He felt strange. He had found the box, but now everyone else was trying to solve it. He didn't mind, really. He just wanted to know why him. Why had the box landed near him? Could have fallen anywhere. One night he couldn't sleep, so he walked to the research room where the box was kept under bright lights. No one was around. The guards had gone for a break. He sat near the box and stared at it. The message still glowed. If you open this box, I'll marry you. He chuckled softly. Well, I'm not sure I want to get married to a space queen, but I do want to know what's inside. The box gave no answer, of course. But for the first time, Tomel noticed something. He spoke. The symbols on the sides changed just a little, like ripples in water. He leaned forward. Can you hear me? A new wave of symbols appeared, just for a second, then vanished. His heart beat faster. It was reacting to him. The next morning, he told the scientists what he saw. They tested his idea, but saw no change. When Tomel spoke again, however, the symbols moved once more. The lead scientist, a kind woman named Dr. Rima, raised an eyebrow. Maybe it responds to emotions. Or maybe it responds to you. Why me? Tomel asked. Dr. Rima smiled. That's the question, isn't it? By the end of the day, the colony council held a meeting. They decided to stop trying to force the box open. Instead, they gave Tomel permission to interact with it freely. After all, he had found it tanned so far. He was the only one it responded. 2. Later that evening, Tomel was back in the research room. He sat cross-legged on the floor, looking at the strange gift from the stars. He didn't try to open it, he just talked. He told it about his day, about how he used to live on Earth, and about his little sister who loved the stars. He shared memories, thoughts, and quiet wishes. The symbols glowed softly as if listening. Then he asked, "Why me? I'm nobody. I just fix pipes and wires." The box pulsed, once gentle and warm. Tommel didn't understand it, but he felt comforted. Maybe that was the first answer. Far above, in a crystal palace on Valara Prime, Queen Arali watched the boy through a glowing sphere. Her advisors asked her, "Why him, your grace? Why send the royal challenge to such a place?" She smiled, her eyes like starlight. "Because unlike the rest of us, he still speaks with heart. He doesn't try to control, he listens." And with that, she whispered into the stars, "Let the real challenge begin." The next morning on Mira 9, everything changed. The colony was busy as usual. People walked to work, children studied in the school dome, and machines hummed across the farms and repair bays. The strange alien box was still in the research room, glowing quietly. Tamal sat near it again, speaking softly as if talking to a friend. He had no plan, just curiosity and calm. Suddenly the sky turned violet. A beam of light shot down from the clouds and formed a circle in the middle of the colony. People stopped walking. Doors opened. Eyes turned upward. The light swirled, and then something appeared in the sky above them. A massive, glowing image of a tall figure dressed in silver and blue. The colony gasped. It was Queen Arali. Her appearance was otherworldly. She had deep golden eyes that sparkled, like sunlight on water, and her hair floated around her like soft silver threads. A gentle smile rested on her lips. She looked both kind and powerful. Her voice echoed softly in the air. "People of Earth, I greet you in peace." Tomol stepped outside and stared up, frozen in surprise like everyone else. He had seen pictures of the Queen, but none compared to seeing her appear above their sky. "I am Arali, first daughter of Valara Prime," she said. "I have sent a challenge. A simple box. It holds no weapons, no treasure, no tricks. But it does hold truth." People whispered to one another. Some were nervous, others excited. Queen Arali continued, "Long ago, the Valari made a pact. We ever found a being who could understand our silent voice, we would offer them unity, a bond between worlds. I now follow that path." Her eyes moved slowly, almost as if she could see through the image. "If you open the box, I will join. My life with yours, not as ruler and subject, but as equals." The message shocked many. Some thought it was a joke. Others thought it was a test of diplomacy or science. But Queen Arali wasn't done. "The box will open for the one who shows not strength, but heart. Not logic, but understanding. This is not a game, it is a call." And just like that, the sky returned to normal. The light faded. The Queen's image vanished. The colony was silent for a long time. Then chaos began. Scientists and engineers rushed back to the research room. New teams arrived from nearby planets. Messages came in from Earth's High Council and other human colonies. Everyone wanted answers. News crews landed near the colony and began asking questions. A media headline flashed across space: "Queen Arali seeks husband from Earth." Atomo sat quietly in the corner of the research room, staring at the box. He wasn't thinking about fame or marriage. He was thinking about her words. Not strength, but heart. Over the next few days, hundreds of people visited Mirani. They brought machines, special tools, alien scanners, and energy devices. All tried to open the box. Some played music, some whispered words, some ran complex computer programs. None succeeded. The box stayed still, glowing softly. Some people got frustrated. A few claimed it was all a trick by the Valari. Others left. Angry that their methods failed, Atamal stayed patient. He visited the box each night after the others left. He didn't try to force it. He just spoke. He told it stories about his childhood on Earth, about learning how to fix machines with his uncle, about walking alone under stars and wondering if someone out there was listening. One night, as he finished talking, the box pulsed with a faint, warm light. It's not just a glow, but a gentle rhythm. It's like a heartbeat. Tomel touched it softly. "Are you trying to speak to me?" The symbols on its surface shifted again more clearly this time. One symbol stayed longer. He took a picture and showed it to Dr. Rima the next morning. She ran it through the translation system. The result was just one word. Almost. Meanwhile, far away on Valara Prime, Queen Arali stood in a grand crystal chamber, watching a floating screen. It showed Tomel sitting near the box, speaking as if to a friend. Her advisors stood nearby. One of them, an elder named Terran, bowed low. "My queen," he said. "You know the council does not support this challenge. They say it is dangerous, that humans are unpredictable." "I know what they say," she replied calmly. Another advisor, Sira, spoke softly. "But why this boy? He is no soldier. Number. Scholar. He is nothing special." Queen Arali smiled. "That is exactly why. He does not try to be more than himself. He listens. He feels. That is what we need." Valara Prime was beautiful, but silent. Its people lived long lives, but their emotions had grown cold. They did not cry. They did not laugh. They solved problems. But they no longer sang. Arali had searched for someone who could help her bring life back to her world, not with weapons, but with warmth. The box was not a test of mind. It was a mirror for the heart. Back on Mira 9, Tomel made a decision. He walked into the council chamber, where scientists and leaders argued about what to do next. He raised his hand. "I don't know why the box responds to me," he said simply, "but I think we're looking at it the wrong way. We keep trying to solve it like a machine. But maybe we just need to treat it like a person." The room went quiet. Dr. Rima nodded slowly. Let him continue. Let him speak to it freely. And so, for the first time, everyone else stepped back. Tomel was alone again with the box. He placed his hand on it and whispered, "I don't want to win. I just want to understand you." The box pulsed again, this time brighter. Far above, in her shining palace, Queen Arali watched with quiet hope. Tomel didn't feel special, but the box treated him like he was. Every evening after the scientists left and the cameras stopped recording, Tomel sat in the research room and talked to the alien box. He didn't try to force it open. He didn't use machines or clever codes. He simply spoke from his heart. He talked about small things: his old bicycle on Earth, the apple trees in his backyard, the quiet sound of rain on the roof, he told. Stories about helping his grandfather fix broken radios, about stargazing with his little sister, about missing home. And every time, the box pulsed softly with light, like it was listening. One night, Tomel decided to try something new. He sat down, closed his eyes, and began to hum a lullaby. It was a gentle tune his mother used to sing to him before bed, soft, slow, and full of feeling. He didn't remember the words, only the melody. To his surprise, the box glowed brighter. He opened his eyes. The symbols on the surface began to swirl faster, like they were dancing. The soft hum from the box grew louder, almost like a quiet song was playing back. Tomel smiled. "You like that?" The box pulsed once bright and warm. The next day he told Dr. Rima and the other scientists about the lullaby. They tested it. They played recordings of it. The box didn't react the same way. It only responded when Tomel sang it, softly and without fear. Dr. Rima looked thoughtful. "It's not just the sound. It's the emotion, the feeling behind it." It made sense to Tomel. Machines can repeat music, but they can't feel it. Maybe that's what the box was looking for. Not perfect notes, but a human heart behind the voice. Back on Valara Prime, Queen Arali watched closely. She sat in her sky garden, surrounded by glowing flowers and floating crystals. How the soft wind carried distant songs from the sea towers, but even in such beauty her people felt nothing. No joy, no sadness, only silence. Her advisors joined her. "This human shows strange behavior," said Terran, the elder. "He does not compete. He does not try to impress. He only shares. Sira folded her hands. He is weak. He is small. Why does the box choose him? Orally answered calmly, because he is real. The Valari had grown cold over time. Their logic had taken over everything. They solved every puzzle, cured every disease, but forgot how to feel. Their songs had no singers. Their dances had no joy. Their world was quiet, but empty. Orally knew that her people needed something different. Not more power, but more heart. That's why she created the challenge. That's why she sent the box. And that's why she watched Tomel with growing hope back on Marinine. The other visitors slowly began to leave. The news teams grew bored. Scientists from other colonies gave up. Many people called the box a waste of time. It's just a trick, they said. There's nothing inside. Others said Tomel was lucky or lying. But Tomel didn't care what they said. He wasn't doing it for attention. He didn't even know if he wanted to marry a queen. He just felt a connection to the box and maybe to the person behind it. He noticed something new that week. Each time he shared a true memory, the box responded faster. But when he tried to act or fake emotions, it stayed still, so he stopped trying to impress. He brought a small plant from the garden dome and placed it beside the box. This is called peace leaf, he said. It doesn't grow tall, but it smells like home. The box pulsed 3 times. The symbols changed into a new shape, a soft spiral. Later, he drew a picture of a lake from Earth and placed it nearby. The box grew warmer, and finally he whispered, I don't know what you want from me, but if you're lonely, I understand that. The symbols froze. Then one word appeared. Yes. Bolt. That night, Queen Orali stood in her private chamber. The stars outside her window blinked like soft candlelight. She placed her hand on a round crystal. It showed Tomel, still sitting by the box, humming his song. He's ready, she said. Tan entered. Are you certain, my queen? If he succeeds, our worlds will connect. He is unpredictable. Orali smiled. That's the point. Predictable things do not grow, but a seed only grows when it faces the unknown. She turned to face the stars. I will speak to them. The time has come. The next morning, the sky on Marinine shimmered once more. The violet light returned, but brighter this time. The queen's image appeared again, floating gently above the colony. People stopped in their tracks. Everyone looked up. Queen Arella's voice filled the air. I speak now not to leaders, but to hearts, she said. To the one who listens, not just hears. To the one who shares, not just shows. Tomel stepped outside the research room and saw her glowing form above the clouds. She looked directly at him. You have given without asking, she said softly. You have shared without pride. The box listens because you do. Everyone turned to Tomel in shock. The final moment is near, said the queen. Not all will understand, but those who feel will know. And with that, the sky cleared again. Tomel didn't say anything. He just looked at the box and smiled. Something was about to happen. Something bigger than science, fame, or even love. Something that began not with strength, but with simple human feeling. The morning after Queen Orali's message, the colony of Marinine was filled with silence, but not the usual kind. This silence was full of waiting, full of wonder, full of the feeling that something important was about to happen. Tomel woke up early. He had not slept much. His thoughts were full of the queen's words. The final moment is near. He washed his face, put on his simple gray work shirt, and walked quietly to the research room. The guard stood aside now. It didn't stop him anymore. Everyone had seen how the box only reacted to him. The research room was still. The box sat on the center table, glowing with its soft green light. Tomel took a deep breath and stepped closer. Good morning, he said softly, as if speaking to an old friend. I had a strange dream last night. He sat down cross-legged on the floor and placed his hand near the box, not touching it yet. In my dream, he continued, you were standing on a bridge of light. You looked like a person, but also like a star. You didn't speak, but I heard you. You were calling my name. The box pulsed once. A strong pulse deeper than before. Tomal smiled gently. He pulled something from his pocket, a small wooden flute. It was old and cracked, a gift from his grandfather many years ago. I never played this well, Tomal said, but I kept it, because it reminds me of home. He raised it to his lips and played. The same soft melody he had been humming before. The lullaby. This time, the tune had a shakier sound. It wasn't perfect. It was full of emotion. As he played, the box began to change. The symbols on its surface lit up brightly. Soft green turned to gold, then blue, then violet. The lines glowed and twisted, moving faster and faster. Tomal stopped playing. Is it time? He placed both hands gently on the box. For a moment, there was silence. Then a hum, low and full of energy, filled the room. The table shook slightly. Lights flickered. The box opened. It didn't crack or split like a normal box. Instead, it unfolded like a flower, opening petal by petal, revealing something glowing inside. At the center was a seed. It floated slightly above the base, glowing softly with light, like the sunrise. It looked simple, but full of power, full of life. Tomal stared in awe before he could speak. Soft breeze filled the room, and then she arrived. A beam of violet light shone down into the room, shimmered like water, and from it a figure. Slowly appeared Queen Orcs. She stood tall and graceful, dressed in silver and soft blue. Her eyes glowed with golden light, and her hair moved like gentle waves in the wind. She wasn't just beautiful, she felt like a living star. Everyone watching through screens across the colony gasped, but Tomal just looked at her, calm and quiet. Orcs smiled. You opened it. Tomal nodded. I didn't know I could. You didn't use force, she said gently. You used understanding. She walked forward slowly, stopping just in front of him. Do you know what this is? She asked, pointing to the glowing seed. He shook his head. It is a life seed, she said. A gift once shared between worlds long ago. It can grow a new beginning, but only if given with pure intent. She held out her hand to him. Gave without asking. You felt without fear, you listened. So now, I ask you, will you walk with me? Tomal looked into her eyes. He had a choice. He could say no. He could return to his quiet life. But something deep inside told him that this moment was more than just a reward. It was an invitation to something larger, something that needed both of them. He reached out and took her hand. Yes, said simply. The colony erupted with cheers. Across the galaxy, people watched as a simple human and a powerful queen stood side by side, holding hands in a glowing room. Dr. Rima watched from outside the research dome, tears in her eyes. They said humans were too emotional, she whispered. But maybe that's what makes us special. The queen turned to face the floating cameras. I do not come to take power, she said to the world. I come to share it between my people and yours. She turned back to Tomal. You have opened more than the box. You have opened a path. Between hearts, the seed in the air glowed brighter. Later, Queen Orcs invited Tomal to return with her to Valara Prime, her homeworld. She told him about her people, her palace in the sky, and the crystal gardens that sang at night. But she also warned him, my world is not like yours. It is beautiful, but quiet. Strong, but empty. You may not feel welcome at first. Tomal nodded. I don't know much about your world, but I'd like to learn. She smiled, and I wish to learn yours. Together, they stepped into the beam of light, and then they were gone. The box remained on the table, still open, still glowing. A symbol appeared on its surface, translated by the computer nearby. This is only the beginning. When Tomal opened his eyes, he was no longer on Mira 9. Instead, found himself standing in a vast palace made of shining crystals. The walls sparkled like stars, and soft light filled every corner. He blinked, trying to take it all in. Beside him stood Queen Orcs, tall and graceful, her golden eyes full of kindness. Welcome to Valara Prime, she said softly. My home. Tomal felt both amazed and nervous. This place was beautiful, but very different from Earth or Mira 9. The air smelled like sweet flowers. But there was a quiet stillness that made him feel small as they walked through the palace. Halls Orally explained, "The Valari live by rules and tradition. Our minds are sharp, but our hearts are quiet. We do not laugh or cry easily anymore." Tomal nodded slowly. "It feels peaceful, but also lonely." Orally smiled. "That is how my people live. We seek balance, but we have lost something. Something you humans still have." Tomal looked around at the glowing gardens and the crystal towers. "Maybe it's not about strength or power. Maybe it's about feeling. You understand more than you know," Orally said. In the days that followed, Tomal met many Valari. They were tall and elegant, with smooth skin that shimmered in the light. They spoke with soft voices and moved with careful grace. Most were polite but distant. They watched Tomal like a strange new star had fallen from the sky. One child approached him, a small Valari girl named Nira. She had curious eyes and a shy smile. "Why do you laugh?" Nira asked one day. "We do not laugh here." Tomal smiled and shrugged, "'Cause sometimes it feels good. It makes you feel alive." Nira tried to laugh but only made a quiet sound. Tomal chuckled and said, "It takes practice." Tomal also learned about Valari traditions, used machines to share thoughts directly between minds. Their rituals were quiet and formal. Emotions were hidden. Orally invited Tomal to join one of their old ceremonies, a ritual where two souls connect through light and energy. "It is the way we bond," she explained, "but it feels different with you. Presence changes the ritual." Tomal was nervous but agreed. As they sat facing each other, light surrounded them. The air filled with soft music and glowing colors. At first, Tomal felt confused. The connection was strange. But then he reached out with his feelings, not with his mind. He shared memories of Earth, the smell of rain, the warmth of his mother's hug, the sound of children laughing. Orally's eyes glowed brighter. The room filled with light. The Valari watching gasped in surprise. "You have brought life to our ceremony," Orally said, smiling softly. "You remind us that we are not just minds. We are hearts." Despite the beauty, Tomal sometimes felt out of place. He missed the simple sounds of Earth, the birds, the wind in the trees, the chatter of friends. One evening, Orally found him sitting alone in a quiet garden. "Do you regret coming here?" she asked gently. Tomal shook his head. "No, but I am different. Your world is beautiful, but it's quiet in a way I'm not used to." Orally sat beside him. "That is why you are important. You bring something we lost. You bring warmth." They looked up at the stars shining through the crystal ceiling. For a moment, there was peace. Word came from the Valari Council. Some elders were worried about Orally's choice. "Humans are unpredictable," one said. "This challenge may bring trouble." Orally replied firmly, "Without change, we will fade. We need new life, new feeling." The council agreed to watch, but many remained doubtful. Tomal continued to learn and share. He taught Nira how to laugh and play simple games, showed others how to make paper flowers, something the Valari had never done. Slowly, the Valari began to smile more often. Their voices softened. The palace filled with quiet joy. Orally watched this change with hope. "Perhaps," she said one day, "the greatest power is not control, but connection." One night, as Tomal and Orally walked through the glowing gardens, she took his hand. "You have changed more than this world," she said. "You have changed me." Tomal smiled. "And you have changed me too." Together under the bright stars of Valera Prime, two very different worlds began to come together, not with power, but with understanding. The days passed slowly on Valera Prime, but for Tomal, each day felt full. He was learning, watching, and feeling more than ever before. The Valeri were quiet people, but now some of them were trying to smile. Some even laughed softly, especially the children. A few started painting, dancing, and writing little poems, things they had never done in hundreds of years, all because a simple human from a small colony brought something they had forgotten: emotion. Queen Orally stood beside Tomal. Most days, watching the change, her heart felt full, but also uncertain. The deeper their connection grew, the more pressure came from the Valari Council. One morning, soft rain fell on the Crystal Palace. Arali met with her advisors. "This human has awakened old feelings," said Elder Terran with a deep voice. "But feelings are not always safe. If you bond with him, Your Grace, you may change forever." "I am ready," Arali replied calmly. Elder Sira shook her head. "You are the Queen of Valara. You carry our legacy. Are you prepared to carry his too?" The room was quiet. Arali lowered her eyes. She had made her choice. But it was not simple. That evening, she called Tomel to her private chamber. The room was lit by soft floating lights, and the air smelled of sweet petals. "Tomel," she began gently, "I must ask you something." He nodded, sensing her seriousness. "If we complete the bonding ceremony, I will become something new, not fully Valari, not fully human, but something in between. Are you ready for such a path?" Tomel thought for a moment. "I didn't come here to change you," he said slowly. "And I didn't come to be changed, but I came to understand. And if we understand each other, maybe change is not something to fear." Arali looked into his eyes. There was no pride in his answer. No drama, just truth. "There is another choice," she said. "You may return to Miranine. You will be rewarded with honor, comfort, and peace. Or you may stay here by my side, without promise of power or safety." Tomel didn't answer right away. He walked to the balcony. Below, he saw the shining towers, the glowing gardens, and even small groups of Valari practicing simple songs they had learned from him. "I never wanted a crown," he said, "but I feel something here, like I belong. Not because I fit, because I bring something they need." Arel's eyes filled with warmth. Tomel turned to her. "I will stay, not for riches, not even for you, but because this world is waking up, and I want to be here when it opens its eyes." The next day, the bonding ceremony was prepared. It was to take place in the Heart Chamber, a sacred space deep within the palace, where only truth could exist. The room was round, with crystal walls that reflected light into rainbow patterns. At the center was a platform where the joining would happen. Tomel wore a simple robe of white and gray. Arali wore silver lined with soft blue. She looked both royal and peaceful. Valari citizens from across the planet gathered silently in the viewing halls. The event was shown across other human colonies too. People everywhere watched, waiting in the Heart Chamber. Arali stepped forward and spoke. "I am Queen Arali of Valara Prime. I carry the wisdom of my ancestors and the light of my people. Today, I choose not with reason, but with feeling." She looked at Tomel. "I ask you, human, not to rule, but to walk beside me. Do you accept?" Tomel stepped forward. "I am Tomel, son of Earth and Miranine. I carry no title. I bring only my heart. And yes, I accept." The room filled with gentle music, not from instruments, but from the crystals themselves. A soft beam of golden light surrounded them both. Their hands touched, and the seed that once floated in the box appeared again, now glowing brighter than ever. It floated between them, then slowly entered the air above their joined hands. From it, light spread outward, not burning, not blinding, but warm. Images filled the chamber. Tomel's memories, Raleigh's dreams, shared hopes, silent songs. The Valari citizens watching felt something strange in their hearts. Some placed hands over their chest, some blinked in surprise. For the first time in generations, they felt emotion, and they welcomed it. The bonding was complete. After the ceremony, the council met one final time. Elder Terran stood and bowed to Arali and Tomel. "We did not expect this," he said quietly, "but we accept it." The Valari people, who had once feared feelings, began to write stories again. They began to create, to feel, to love, and at the center of it all stood a queen and a human, not united by power, but by shared heart. One evening, as the stars rose high above the crystal palace, Arali and Tomel walked through the garden. "Do you ever miss Earth?" she asked. "Sometimes," he said, But Earth is a place. This is something more. It's a beginning. She smiled, and you opened the box. He laughed gently. I guess I did. She took his hand. Then I supposed. We are married now. They stood together in the quiet night, not as ruler and guest, not as alien and human, but as two souls who found each other through one. Simple truth. Understanding is the key that opens everything. Weeks passed after the bonding of Tommel and Queen Arali, and Valara Prime was no longer the same. What once had been a world of silence and stillness had become a place of soft music, light colors, and gentle laughter. People still moved with grace, but now there was warmth in their eyes. Some painted pictures, others wrote poems or songs. Children ran and played in the gardens where no one had played before. Tommel walked through the palace with quiet steps, not because he had to, but because he had learned to respect the quiet beauty of this world. He had become part of it not by changing himself, but by sharing who he was. Queen Arali stood beside him, not just as ruler now, but as a partner. Together, they had begun to build something new, not just between two people, but between two civilizations. One day a special guest arrived from Earth. It was Ambassador Mila Chen, a wise woman known for her peaceful voice and kind heart. She stepped off the silver shuttle and looked around the glowing city with wide eyes. This place, she whispered, it feels like a dream. Tommel smiled as he welcomed her. It was quiet when I arrived. Now it's waking up, Ambassador. Chen looked at him with wonder. You've done something no one thought possible. You've opened a world with kindness. Tommel nodded slowly. But I didn't do it alone. Queen Arali joined them, her long robe flowing like water. Bowed gently. Ambassador Chen, we welcome you with open arms and open hearts. Together, they walked through the crystal garden, where new plants were growing. These plants were not native to Velarat. They had been grown from Earth's seeds, gifted by Tommel and carefully cared for by the Velarat. Among the flowers was the small peace leaf plant Tommel had once placed beside the box on Mira 9. Now, it had grown tall and strong, shining under the twin moons. This is the Garden of New Stars, Arali explained. A place where both our worlds are rooted. As the sun set, a celebration began. For the first time in Valari history, there was a festival filled with soft drums, glowing lanterns, and dancing. The Valari moved carefully, their steps not perfect, but full of joy. Tommel played his wooden flute again, the same one he had once used near the box. The sound was simple, but it filled the air like magic. Children danced around him, copying his movements. Even Elder Terran, once unsure of Tommel, gave a small smile as he watched the people move. I never thought I would see this, he said. To Arali, you're seeing the future, she replied. Later that night, Tommel and Arali sat together on a high balcony. The stars above were bright, and the air was cool and calm. Arali looked up. I used to wonder if our people would ever feel again. Now I wonder what else we can become. Tommel leaned back. It started with one small box, Arali smiled, and one small voice. They sat in silence for a moment. Then Arali turned to him. There is something I wish to ask. Anything, he replied. We have opened the path between Valari and humans. But many more species live across the stars. What if we could reach them too? Tommel looked thoughtful. You want to send more boxes? Not boxes, she said gently, but bridges. Messages of hope. Small signs that say, we want to understand you, just like I sent one to your world. Amil nodded. Then let's do it. In the weeks that followed, the idea became real, with help from both Valari and human engineers. They created glowing star seeds, small, floating crystals filled with light and sound, carrying messages of peace, emotion, and invitation. Each seed carried a piece of Valara and a piece of Earth, a song, story, a laugh, and a dream. These star seeds were sent across the galaxy. Some were sent to nearby colonies. Others traveled to far-off places where no contact had been made before. The message was simple. We are listening. We are ready to feel. Let us share. Back on Earth in Miranine, the story of Tomel and Queen Orally became legend. Children acted it out in school plays. Artists painted their faces in glowing murals. Writers told stories of the box and the boy who opened it not with strength but with heart. Tomel's family, watching from their quiet home on Earth, felt proud. His little sister, now older, looked up at the stars every night and whispered, "My brother is out there," helping the galaxy smile. One night, Orally and Tomel stood in the garden again. "I've never asked," Orally said softly. "Do you miss your old life?" Tomel thought for a moment. "Sometimes, but then I remember. Even if I had stayed on Mira 9, I'd still be wondering. I'd still be looking up." Orally looked at him gently, and now he said, "I'm looking forward." Smiled at each other. Suddenly, one of the new star seeds rose from the garden. It blinked, turned, and shot into the sky, its trail sparkling like a shooting star. Tomel pointed. "There goes another bridge." And somewhere, Orally said, someone is waiting to open it. A human, an alien queen. A glowing box. A choice made not by strength, but by listening, sharing, and feeling. And in the quiet heart of the galaxy, something truly rare had been born, understanding between worlds. A love story that didn't begin with power, but with a simple promise. If you open this box, I'll marry you.